My name is Carol Alston Gilly. I've been in real estate for about 36 years, and I'm associate manager at Compass. And I started my real estate life right here where we are in Los Feliz and Franklin Hills and all the surrounding hills, and it was many, many moons ago. Well, I like working with first-time buyers and people who this is their first experience, so I enjoy that. But I like seeing what sellers do when they live in a house for a long time and how they live and what the house becomes when people have lived in a house for 20 years, because it changes personality to suit whomever the owner is.
Yeah. Let's unpack those two things. You said you really love working with first-time home buyers.
Yes.
Tell me why, and what are some of the tips that you would give to a first-time home buyer?
Okay. First-time home buyers assume they know what they want. So they'll tell you they want a nice traditional house with a high roof and a big backyard. And then they buy a house that's on a ridge with no view and no yard. So I tell people to look very carefully, and when they find something they think they like, walk away from it and come back again and see how much you really like it. And don't be impulsive about making a big purchase like that. Sometimes they fall in love and they're not falling in love with something that really suits them. So we have to be patient with that process.
So what is another tip? A walk away from your original desire or appetite of what it is you think you like. Give me two more tips.
Your first house does not have to be your last house. So sometimes people can't really afford what they really like to have, and it's upsetting to them. And I remind them, this doesn't have to be the last one. This can be your first house, and then you keep it. It becomes your rental later on, and you buy something else, or you refinance it in 10 years and still keep it, but buy your dream house. You don't have to. Your first is not your last house.
Mm-hmm. Another tip?
Another tip is to be very careful with your money. And when you buy something, don't do everything right away. Live in it a while and see how it feels to you, because something you think is horrible in the house, that, I couldn't possibly live with that, and you find that isn't that important after you've lived there a little while. So take your time, enjoy your house first, and then later on make changes, but don't do it right away.
Yeah. It seems as though when you're buying a house and you're thinking about living in the house, it seems like it is a big transaction, obviously, and one of the largest many of us will make.
Sure.
But it also makes us feel like you really are, in a way, planting a root somewhere, and it makes you feel like you can't ever unroot and do something else or go somewhere else, right? It gives you this feeling of perception like you have the option to only make this decision one time, and you must get it right the first time. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, I think for some reason we've been conditioned to think that way.
I think part of the reason was that most of our parents bought a house that they lived in for 30, 40 years. They only bought one house, had one retirement, and so whatever decision they made was a really important one. Whereas we're a lot more mobile, and we're opinionated like our parents were, but we don't feel, when we think about it, we don't feel like our life is in that one house for 30 or 40 years. Mm-hmm. And if you start thinking about that a little bit, it helps to free you up to look at options.
True, very true.